Welcome to Thursdays. My name's Nathaniel. And let me start out by saying that, no, Mom, this is not all some big ruse to get you to read Harry Potter. Only mostly. Also, Mom and Dad, I'm going to give you just a little bit of your own advice. You remember when I was little and there was a book that I really didn't want to read? You remember what you told me? Once you get through the beginning of a book, the rest of it is smooth sailing. Do you know how many pages are in the full Harry Potter series? 4,100 pages. That makes Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone the equivalent of the first 22 pages of Huckleberry Finn. So to you I say, once you get through the beginning, the rest of it is smooth sailing. But in all seriousness, I'm glad you're doing it with us. It'll be more fun. Alright, so I know the rest of you have been talking about what we're doing and how we're doing it, but I thought I'd say a little bit more about why we're doing it. It all sort of started in the theater for the last Harry Potter movie. I was sitting there and I realized that, hey, what happens when it's all done? I mean, Harry Potter's been around for years and years and years, as long as I can remember. So I turned to my cousin and said, we should do something. And so, a couple weeks later, here we are. Every day of the week we got something for you about Harry Potter. Anyway, the rest of them have been talking about what the first 4 chapters of this book have been about, and that's not how I was looking at it. When I was reading it, I was thinking, you know, how does this relate to the rest of the series and the little tidbits that J.K. Rowling put in here for us to get as we read it for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th times. As such, that makes me liable to a couple spoilers every now and again, but I will give you plenty of warning before I go into those, so that if you haven't read the books, then you don't have to have the rest of them spoiled for you. Starting right out, there's something I don't get, and it's taken me 5 or 6 or 7 times reading through to get this. And what I don't understand is, why does Mr. Dursley's hate the Potters so much? As far as we're told, he has never met them, but maybe it's just something he got from Aunt Petunia. Maybe it's just his deep-set hatred for anything abnormal. I don't know. Another thing with the Dursleys is, as Karina mentioned, why Harry has to stay with them. Now, they tell us in the book that Harry doesn't have any other living relatives, which, I guess, that seems kind of hard to believe. I guess we can assume that Lily and Petunia's parents are dead, but James? We never really hear about them except for a few tidbits later on in the series. Don't even know what they did. Unless I'm missing something. I guess it's feasible that they could have died fighting you-know-who, because there were people fighting them for a while before Harry finally got to them. Well, I guess we just have to look at it as Harry's with the Dursleys, and there's nothing we can do about it, seeing as the story is already done. But Harry staying with the Dursleys brings up another question, not necessarily about Harry, but about the wizarding world in general. I mean, there are tons of wizarding children, we know that from after seeing Hogwarts and all of the kids that are there. But what happens to them when they're either an only child or all their older siblings have gone off to school already? It seems strange to me that they'd go and play with Muggle children. I can just imagine it, some wizarding kid going to play with a Muggle friend. A couple minutes later, and the mom's downstairs, and she hears this colossal bang upstairs, and she says, "Billy, what on earth was that?" "Oh, it's nothing, Mom, there's just a giant kangaroo on my bed. He just kind of appeared." Now, I can see this being a massive problem for the Statute of Secrecy. I mean, granted, that was a bit of an exaggeration, but it could have happened. Wizarding kids don't tend to have that much control over their powers. Speaking of the Statute of Secrecy, I had another question. Suppose that Harry went to stay with some other relative other than the Dursleys, I don't know, someone who was more open, understanding that Harry was a wizard and didn't try and squish it out of him right away. Are they informed about the Statute of Secrecy? Do they know that there is this whole wizarding government that keeps everything in check? I know at least from the rest of the series, the Dursleys had no idea there was a ministry. At least Mr. Dursley did, and he makes some sort of comment that they have a government or whatever. It just sort of puzzled me, because I can see some people just going off and blabbing away. "Oh, guess what my nephew can do? I just found out that he can change my tea kettle into a porcupine." Now, that would make things a bit difficult for the Ministry of Magic, don't you think? Alright, I have just a couple more points, and both of them revolve around Dumbledore. First of all, I don't think Dumbledore's naive, but he sure seemed like it. Leaving Harry with the Dursleys and expecting them just because he left a letter to tell Harry, "Oh, guess what, Harry, you're a wizard." That doesn't seem very likely to me. My second point about Dumbledore is, again, he seems not to know anything about this, and for being the best wizard and the only one that you know who ever feared, you'd think that he would know more about all of this that went on. I mean, how Voldemort was defeated, how Harry survived, but he's completely stumped as the rest of them. Now this is in reference to a quote of Hagrid in the 4th chapter. "That was no ordinary cut, Harry. That's what you get when a powerful evil curse touches you." Now that's the part that has me confused. So he said, that's what you get when a powerful dark curse touches you. But then why don't we see more people with these scars? I mean, is it just the people who get these curses put on them and then they survive? I mean, Voldemort killed other people. Is there corpses strewn around with lightning bolt scars on their foreheads? Doesn't seem very likely to me, and it's never mentioned again, so... typo? Or am I just being stupid and she meant everyone to infer that, only if you survive these horrible dark curses do you get these scars? I don't know. Now we are entering the spoiler section of the video, so if you don't want to hear the spoilers and you haven't read the books, haven't seen the movies, whatever, stop watching now. Now. As a matter of fact, you can click right here if you want to skip to the end of the video and hear what I have to say there and you don't want to hear the spoilers. Now. Alright then, if you're in this part of the video, then I assume that means you have watched all the movies, or at least have some inkling as to what's going to happen, and I'm not going to ruin the whole series for you. Good, here we go. Now, I know I am being obsessive about this Dumbledore thing, but specifically the scar. Hagrid knows what the scar means, and Dumbledore doesn't. That seems... I don't understand that. Hagrid didn't even finish school. And also, Dumbledore's Deluminator, which was introduced in what was the very first chapter. Did J.K. Rowling have it planned that she was going to bring that back in such a prominent way in the 7th book, or did she just say, oh, there's a magical thing, you can turn that into a little transport device? I don't know. And very early on, Dumbledore, though indirectly, talks about Horcruxes. He says, I think it's on page 11, that Voldemort had powers that he would never have. So, whether on purpose or not, or he had some sort of thought that there may be something holding Voldemort to life, and I guess he knew that Voldemort would come back. Alright, well, I'm done talking for now. I'm excited to hear what Amanda and Alex have to say tomorrow and the next day. And if you haven't already, grab a copy. Read along with us. Very interested to hear what you have to say. Post your comments about what I said and what everyone else has said, and if you want to, post video replies. I'll see you in a week. Bye.